those of you who don't know me, my name is Counsell. I am the president and founder of the King's College London Think Tank Society. And I would first of all just like to express my deep gratitude to every single one of you coming out here tonight. Such a turnout doesn't happen all the time, and myself and the committee are truly humbled by the amount of people who have come here tonight to listen to what we're all about. So first of all, thank you. So what I'm going to talk about is just a little bit about the history of the King's College London Think Tank Society, what we've done over the last few months, and why it matters, and why we need a think tank at King's, led by students. Okay, so first of all, just a little history. We had our first launch event. I know we called this the launch event. Actually, it's more a relaunch event. Because we had our first launch event on March the 1st, 7 months ago. At that launch event, we really didn't know what we were doing, to be honest. I think it's a fair assumption. We had this idea to create a think tank society. That was about it. It took a lot of work after that, and it took definitely a lot of trial and error. And apologies to those of you who dealt more with the error. But we made it, and we managed to run 4 really successful events after that launch event in the space of a month. The aim of that month was really a trial run. So what we did in that month was great, and the people who came out to all of our events, I think we had some really interesting lectures, but it was still just kind of a test run. This year, we're starting properly. This year, we've learned the mistakes that we made in that month, and we're building on it, and we're building the society even bigger than last year. I think we've doubled the number of committee members now, and we're running events every week this year. So, a little bit of background. The King's College London Think Tank Society, the idea first kind of came about in October of last year, and myself and a couple of others met with people from Warwick, who started the first student think tank in the UK. We met with Warwick and we met with others, and we got all these ideas together on how we might run a student think tank. But as I said, it was a very kind of vague idea. Basically, all we did was run lectures. We just ran a series of lectures. And we culminated that in the publication of a journal, which happened over the summer. So, the journal was a big success. We had, I think, 6 articles, including a guest article from Dr. James Porter, an academic at Oxford, leading academic on voting data. So we had a very impressive journal and a whole impressive series of events, but we still felt like we needed to do more. And today, I really hope that we're going to explain to you guys our program of events. Francis, I think, and Paolo are going to go into a little more detail, along with the policy center presidents, about what we do here. But I think it's really, really important that I talk just a little bit about why we need a think tank at King's, because I think that really is the issue. So, what is the purpose of a think tank at King's? We heard a little bit from Dr. John Meadowcroft there. Public policy matters, and public policy matters to all of us. In some ways, it could be argued that students are affected by public policy more than anyone. After all, we are, well, most of us, young people who are going to inherit the world. And when we inherit it, we don't want it to be a mess. So we better start thinking about what we want. We better start getting our voices heard. But recently, and I would say especially over the last couple of years, especially in the UK, the student has lost their voice to some extent. The student has lost their voice. Young people are in a privileged yet frustrating position. People don't listen to us. The tuition fee protest last year, I think, highlighted that better than anything. And furthermore, the riots, whatever the reasons for those riots, meant that we lost a lot of respect that was in the, or whatever respect was left, in the community for us disappeared. So, what is the think tank? What is the King's College London think tank? The King's College London think tank is more than just the aggregate of all of our events. King's College London think tank is more than the journal which we publish every year. And the King's College London think tank is more than and the opportunities which we can provide you guys. The King's College London Think Tank is giving the student their voice back. And that's really important. The King's College London Think Tank is at the crest of a wave of a new age of student politics, where students engage with politics, but they engage in a way which is reasoned, well-researched, and has potency. As think tanks in universities, led by students, spring up across the country, across Europe, and the globe, we stand out as a leader of this movement. So, we are the rational response to government policies which we don't agree with. We are the rational response to injustice, and we are the rational response to events such as the riots. And people come to me a lot and say, do I really think that a think tank can work at King's? Do I really think that students can run a think tank? And I always respond to them the same answer. I tell them that we can succeed as a think tank in King's, not in spite of the fact that we are students, but because we are students. The fact that we are students gives us a huge advantage. We are still young. We are still learning. The policies which are being decided in Whitehall, in Europe, in Brussels, in Washington, they affect us more than anyone. They are our policies to decide. And people say, do you think that a university, a bunch of students, can have the kind of political clout to really make a difference? And I say, yes, we can. Sorry about that, I didn't mean to. That was definitely not intentional. I'll fit in, ask not what the think tank can do for you, but what you can do for the think tank can do. So basically, what I'm saying is that the university is a perfect place for a student-led think tank. It's the perfect place. Think about it. We have some of the best and brightest students, some of the most respected academics in the world, and they're communicating on a daily basis. It's now time that we take all of that, but we harness all of the resources, all of the knowledge in this university across however many departments to do something. So, as students, we can be the first truly independent think tank in the country. We don't get our funding from the Labour Party. We don't get our funding from the Conservative Party. Well, we don't really need much funding. But the little money we have doesn't have any effect on what we decide in our policies. The things that you guys decide, the things that you guys will come up with, the things that you guys will write, the questions that you will ask in the events and the speakers which we bring in will all be completely independent. There will be no influence on our policy decisions. And yes, we've achieved a lot. We've achieved a lot in 6 months. From publishing a journal, to events, and even to the fact that we are now leading an international independent organization of student think tanks called Campus Policy. We've achieved all of that, but what is our biggest achievement? Our biggest achievement is demonstrated right here. The fact that 200 students can come and an interest in public policy, want to have their voices heard, want to find out more about the think tank society. That is our biggest achievement. And we are very grateful to all of you for coming here tonight. So, let's return to the initial question. What is the purpose of the King's College London Think Tank Society? Why bother? Why do we do all this? The purpose of the King's College London Think Tank Society is to provide a fresh perspective to the problems outside of that door, and to provide the solutions for the problems which we will all inherit tomorrow. And through doing so, restore a voice to a student populace which has lost respect in the community. So I'd like to thank you all very much for coming once again, and I would now like to hand over to Pablo Calderón Martinez, who is a lecturer here at King's. He's a PhD student as well. He is going to be talking about his experience in think tanks, and why it matters, and his plans for the policy centres, and what we're going to be doing over the next year. Thank you so much once again for coming.